time? Okay, well, I'm going to call the first meeting of the new year into order. We begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if you would like to join us, please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So thank you all for coming. So this is kind of a special day. We have a new commissioner, Mary May. I would like to welcome her to the dais. And also I would like to congratulate Kent Goldthorpe on his reelection. So I'm sure he'll be joining us shortly. So the first item on our agenda is to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. These are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a commissioner or citizen so requests, in which case the item will be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda. All of the consent agenda items are considered action items unless noted. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to pull something off the agenda? If not, Commissioner Arnold?
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented with the exception of moving item 10. We're going to defer that for 1 week.
Is there a second?
Second?
Okay, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Commissioner Goldthorpe, I just wanted to congratulate you, but then I realized your chair was empty, so congratulations on your reelection. Okay, the next item on our agenda, and these are action items. The first item on the agenda is the election of officers. We will be electing president and vice president of the Ada County Highway District Board of Commissioners for the calendar year 2019. We'll have two different motions, one for the president and one for the vice president. And I would like to make a motion that I would like to nominate Rebecca Arnold for president. Is there a second?
Second?
Okay,
I would like to nominate Commissioner Goldthorpe as president.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so we will vote on, I guess, the substitute motion first. So all in favor of Commissioner Goldthorpe as president, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
No.
No, nay.
Nay. Okay, so the motion fails. So the motion before us is for Rebecca Arnold to be president. And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Congratulations, Commissioner Arnold.
Thank you.
Okay, the next motion, and I'll go ahead and make a motion for the vice president of the Ada County Highway District Commission. And I would like to nominate Mary May.
And I would second that.
Are there any other nominations? If not, the item is before us. All in favor of Mary May as vice president, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, you two.
Thank you very much.
Did you want to talk about the Did you want to talk about the third?
In years past, we have had a second vice president, and I think that's probably important, if for no other reason, if the president and vice president are not here, that we need to have someone who's authorized to sign plats. And I guess my question for our legal counsel, I have two questions. We didn't notice it today to elect a second vice president. Would we need to do that? I think we just noticed for officers.
Madam President, Commissioner Steve Price, the issue of second officer or second vice president is within our policy. It has never been changed, and it is on the agenda, so it's properly noticed. If that is the commission's wish, you will certainly have the authority to go forward and make that nomination and election.
Okay, then I would like to nominate Sarah Baker as past president to take the spot of second vice president. Second?
Are there any other nominations? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
All right, thank you very much. That was totally unexpected. Okay, now we move on to the appointment of the treasurer and secretary clerk of the Ada County Highway District. can this be one motion? Two motions? Okay, the first item then would be to appoint Sherwin Pesca as treasurer of the Ada County Highway District. Is there a motion to that
So
effect?
moved.
Second?
Okay, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Sherwin, again. And the next is to appoint Stacy Spencer as the secretary clerk of the Ada County Highway District.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations again, Stacy. All right. So those are our board officers for the year of 2019. Then, okay, the next item on our agenda is the fiscal year 2018 audited financial statement, request for approval. Just want to point out that these financial statements are what they are. It's a statement of our finances. It's not going to be changed. We can't make a motion to change it. It is what it is. And so I'd like to just have Anna Osborne make an introduction, I guess, of our auditors. So go ahead, Anna.
Yes. Madam President, Commissioners, good afternoon. For the record, I am Anna Osborne, ACHD, Accounting Supervisor. With the recent closeout of fiscal year ended September 30th, 2018, the staff prepared ACHD financial statements, which were then audited by the CPA firm iBailey. We have with us Kristen Diggs, audit partner with iBailey, who will speak briefly on the outcome of the audit. Thank you.
Madam President, Commissioners, my name's Kristen Diggs. I'm an audit partner with iBailey.
I guess we need your address.
Yeah, I actually had to look it up. My address for our office
Business
is.
address.
Yes, I know. Is 877 West Main Street, Suite 800, so.
In Boise.
In Boise, correct, yes, we're in the Wells Fargo building. Okay, the financial statements that you see, that you were presented, I believe you've had time to review them and everything. These are the financial statements that are prepared by management. And so I'd like to thank Sherwin and Anna and all of their staff. I mean, they just do an excellent job and everything. With the audit, we did issue 3 separate opinions. We are required to, for ACHD, which is consistent with each year. They are all unmodified opinions. We issued an opinion on the financial statements. We issued an opinion on the financial reporting and internal controls. We also issued an opinion on the compliance as it relates to your federal grants. So you guys have 2 major federal grants that you have in your financial statements that you'll see here. And so we did audit one of them in the current year, which accounted for about 93% of your total federal expenditures for the current year. Like I said, they're all clean opinions, unmodified. With that, do you have any questions?
Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Yep. All right, we have someone signed up who wishes to testify. Don Kostelek. Again, remember, it is what it is. We're not going to change anything.
Thanks, Commissioners. Don Kostelek, 3336. Yeah.
You have 3 minutes.
Yeah. This past summer, 3336 East Front Runner, Boise. This past summer, when you asked the public to give you more money, I tried to find ACHD's audited financial website statements on your website to see how much money you had. I couldn't find them. I had to go to the federal government's Single Audit Clearinghouse website to download the fiscal year 2016 and 17 reports. Luckily, I'm married to an accountant who knows that that thing exists. I found ACHD commission agendas for those 2 years, but nothing was included other than a staff report that appears to be a cut and paste job year after year. It appeared it was going to be a 3rd year in a row that the public, and I presume the ACHD commission, never actually saw the full 50-plus page audited financial statement. So I'm glad you remedied that and posted that over the weekend. I hope the standard operating procedure in the future is to post full statements on the agenda so both the full commission and public can see them. And be proud of it. You have an unmodified opinion. You generally spend your money well. Given how the public tends to scream.
Counsel?
Yes.
Did you yell so loud?
Sorry. Given how the public tends to scream, that agency ought to be audited, which you've heard all the time, you should make it a public presentation every year to show that you have been audited. But I have a few questions pertaining to mainly definitions in it. Your fund balance sheet, page 17, includes 2 entries titled Future Needs and Priority Corridor. There are no footnotes in that statement or any information on ACHD's website that defines the purpose of these funds. What is the $6.8 million of future needs identified for? I've heard it was possibly for a new administration building, which, given you've ceased work since the end of the last fiscal year, hopefully you can answer what the fund is now to be used for. What is the $11.8 million priority corridor fund intended for? What is the priority corridor exactly? Over the course of fiscal years 2016 and 17, there was more than $13 million put into that account. That's $20 million not defined publicly on your website. Moving on to other things, the independent auditor's report did identify what is termed a significant deficiency on page 47 in the independent auditor's report on internal controls. What was that? Given it was an unmodified opinion, I'm guessing it's not something major. And finally, the lack of availability of these reports for current and past years is probably what's most disconcerting. I did a search of other major Treasure Valley governments and found all of your peer agencies have several years of their audited financial statements readily available on their finance or budget website. I'll give you a full packet of screenshots and web links to them. They include Ada County, Boise, Meridian, Nampa, Caldwell, Canyon County, Compass, Boise School District, and West Ada School District. And one of them even has a nice how to read our financial statement on there for the public. So I ask the commission that with approval of these statements, you direct the staff to create a website that can house these documents. Thank you.
And just so you know, we have always had the statements before us. I remember doing it for the last 10 years, so. All right, do we need to, Mr. Goldberg?
Because of the small uproar that had occurred publicly, at least on social media, about these particular lines, the future needs, priority corridor, and unassigned, I had asked that we be given a little brief explanation about what those 3 are, and I've discussed it with Paul Daigle, and he has graciously accepted a very brief assignment to explain those.
All right, Mr. Dale.
Commissioners, Paul Daigle, Chief of Staff. With regards to the future needs, if the commission remembers, we were directed to come up with a rainy day fund, if you will, as a plan for the third maintenance site that you have authorized us to go look for. So money has been set aside for that. Money in future needs is also set aside for many of the upcoming bridge projects that we have in the out years. So some of that money is there for that. In regards to the unassigned, I believe it's $24 million. That is the absolute minimum that the GFOA requires us to keep for 2 months worth of expenses. And so that's what those 2 particular reservations are for. And we'll have Gary Inselman talk to the priority corridor.
Madam President, Commissioners, Gary Inselman, Development Services Manager. If you recall, over the last several years, you identified several priority corridors. They are Eagle Road, Lake Hazel, Orchard, 10 Mile, Locust Grove, portions of Linder, and at budget time and as some of the budget adjustment times, we have come to you and you have directed us to set money aside in that priority corridor reservation for future projects on those corridors. And that's what that money has been used for. And we have programmed money in the past several budget years to be able to keep projects moving on those corridors. As you recall, in this current year, we have 2 miles of I believe Cloverdale being finished and 2 miles of Linder, and then future projects moving up in the coming years. I could center any questions if you have any.
Are there any questions? So in other words, basically, we're planning for the future.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, it says request for approval, so, I believe we need to, accept this, financial statement and then send it to the Federal Single Audit Clearinghouse and to the State of Idaho Legislative Office,
Madam President,
Auditor's Office. Mr. Goldthorpe.
I would move that we approve this, the 2018 audit financial statements.
And send them to the
And
feds and the
send
state.
them wherever they need to go.
Okay, great.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Ms. Arnold?
Yes, I'd just like to make one comment. I understand that there was some confusion and concern about the audited financial statements, but they, as Commissioner Baker said, they are what they are. They are a snapshot of the district's financial position at one point in time. It's not something we can change. Whatever is there on the books is what's there. It's not something that's subject to change. And as far as reserves, I'm comfortable with those. There are legal requirements that we have a certain amount of money in reserve. We also have cash in the bank to pay for contracts that have already been let for projects that are currently under construction. So having spent some time as an auditor in my first career as a CPA, I'm comfortable with our financial statements.
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Yes, Madam President.
Mr. Hanson?
I would agree that I'm fine with these financial statements. I think the citizen who's come forward has raised a good point, and I would ask that we post these as soon as they're ready so that they're publicly available. And I would also ask that we provide the public with definitions of our terms, much as we've just provided through Mr. Daigle and Mr. Inselman's description. I don't think it's necessary to have to go through a hearing process just to define a term in a financial statement that we've developed. So I'd ask that those it's just a definition of terms. It's not a judgment upon past decisions as much as it is an opportunity to be more transparent to the public. And I think since we're spending public money, we should be more transparent. I just want to extend appreciation to Hyde Bailey for the good work you've done and the opportunity to work with you. You're highly recommended of, and when I finally got a copy of this on Friday and read through it, I was able to understand it far more than I thought I would. So I appreciate that very much, and I think the opportunity for the public to read it as soon as it's available is appropriate, since this motion is our own personal commitment as commissioners that we have read, understood, and are forwarding this to the various state and federal authorities.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, that concludes our regular agenda. Is there anyone from the audience who wishes to address the commission on any topic? Okay, well then, I am going to just take a few minutes and make sort of some valedictory remarks. It's been a pleasure, for the most part, serving as president this last year. First, I want to again congratulate Mary May for joining the commission, and also Kent Goldthorpe on his reelection. I'd also like to congratulate the new commission president, Rebecca Arnold, and the new commission vice president, Mary May. Those things are hard to get out. I hope that your time in office will be rewarding and successful. For the most part, this past year has been very interesting and rewarding. However, there was one incident that I think set a terrible tone, not only for the Ada County Highway District Commission, but also, in fact, for the state of Idaho. Something that we have never seen before as a state or any jurisdiction therein. And that is the mob that was ginned up in order to prevent a commissioner from being accountable for breaking the open meeting law. And it was done, I think, out of just self-preservation and a willful attempt to avoid accountability. And what it has done, and I've heard this from a number of different people throughout this county, not the county, but elected officials throughout the state of Idaho, is that this has basically eviscerated the open meeting law because it's no big deal. I had a county commissioner from another county saying that he was compiling a list of those breakings of the open meeting law, but once the mob happened and the Attorney General, their letter happened, he said, it's just not worth it. There is no open meeting law in the state of Idaho anymore, which is a shame. But more than that, it was a shame and shameful behavior by the mob that was here, that shouted down, that would try to intimidate elected officials. I know it happens at the national level. We saw it happen with the Kavanaugh hearing. But to have it happen in the state of Idaho, it's beyond belief. It's shameful. And it was shameful of the actions of the people who stood up and screamed. It was shameful of the commissioner who ginned that mob up and who didn't take accountability for his actions. And, you know, I just would hope that that never happens again, because it really was uncivil. It was inappropriate. And I think it just basically makes a mockery of the oath that we heard two commissioners take this morning, which was to behave with the highest ethical standards, to follow the laws of the state of Idaho and also of the Ada County Highway District, and follow the Constitution. And clearly that hadn't happened, and let's just hope going on forward. And I personally pledge that going on forward, you know, we should all be working in the same direction for the citizens of Ada County, and for the staff, and for ourselves to all pull together and to go forward as one, to make this the best organization in not only the state of Idaho, but the entire country. I will say that we have a wonderful staff. They're very helpful, and I know, Rebecca, you will know this because you've been here longer than I am, but Mary, you need to understand as well that the staff of the Ada County Highway District is here for not only the commission, but also for the citizens of the county. What they do is yeoman's work, and they get dissed for it almost every day. And when you talk about social media, Mr. Goldthorpe, you know, anybody can be anonymous on social media, anybody can be mean and hateful on social media, but our staff, led by Director Bruce Wong, has put into place a very fine executive team that I know that you will be able to call upon in the future and to make your goals successful. But with that, as I said, I just want to pledge that, you know, we're moving forward. Hopefully we will move forward as one. We will leave the issues behind us, that we will all look towards upholding the needs of the county residents and ourselves, and pull forward as one and not go behind people's backs, make nasty statements, make lies, whatever. So anyway, with that, thank you very much for this past year, and meeting adjourned.